In 2002, director Kwon-taek created another historical biographical film about the famous artist Jang Seung-up, who was born in 1843 and lived until 1897. This is a film about the founder of the Korean national style in painting, based on classical Chinese patterns. Can a person, despite all the conditions and circumstances of his life, create masterpieces that are valued already during his lifetime and not only decades after his death? The director of the film Strokes of Fire thinks he can, but for this you need to be as passionate as artist as Jang Seung-up. The story of the only commoner in the history of feudal Korea, Jang Seung-up, who was awarded the honorary 6th rank out of 9 in the strict bureaucratic hierarchy of the royal court, is remembered with pride in Korea. Thanks to film director Kwon-taek, the remarkable Korean artist is known all over the world. The life of the artist Jang Seung-up, who created realistic portraits, landscapes, and genre sketches, depended on many tragic contradictions. Since the second half of the 19th century, Korea has constantly become the territory of military clashes between stronger neighbors, a powerful China and modernized Japan. A weak kingdom was unable to protect its subjects. The main goal in the life of Jang Seung-up was the constant proof of his right to creative activities. Thanks to the ingenious and stubborn painter Jang Seung-up, the first pictorial strolls appeared in Korean painting of the 19th century. In them, the emotional and poetic message of the author was clear without any words to both the noble man educated in Chinese spirit and the Korean peasant. Unlike Japan, court officials in Korea were not military like the samurai. Most of the educated Koreans brought up on classical Chinese philosophy and literature tried to find ways of development and self-expression in the areas of traditional hierarchical Confucianism. Their lack of independence, good-heartedness, and hopes for foreign powers, China, Russia, and Japan, turned out to be fatal for the country, which became an arena for a military clash between feudal China and modernizing Japan. The state located on the Korean peninsula was constantly inferior to strong neighbors, China and Japan, and all Western imperialists' power, since the middle of the 19th century, trying to open and plunder the stubborn small country. When Jang Seung-up matured, his teacher Kim Byung-moon tried to convince the artist to take part in the political life of impoverished feudal Korea. But the artist refused to offer of an older friend and respected teacher. He did not want art to be a political weapon. Jang Seung-up starts his creative career as a copyist of Chinese erotic pictures for men. For this, he is supported by the owner of the tavern. A few years after Jang Seung-up became a famous painter, the owner of the tavern again offers the genius to earn extra money on popular erotic pictures, but he climbs onto the roof and shouts in despair, "Pitiful fools." The film takes up the theme of respectful devotion. Jang Seung-up gives the sick Kim Byung-moon, his teacher, a painting. He is very grateful to the artist, but asks him on his next visit to paint it in the new European fashion. Kim has to flee in a hurry. He was accused of high treason. And the artist Jang Seung-up, risking his freedom and life, climbs into an empty house sealed by the police and paints a picture for his friend and teacher. By accident, a few years later, the wandering artist met with the teacher Kim, who was working in the field. An artist asked a former teacher, "Why don't you go back to Seoul?" And the aged Kim replies, "I will die here. Peasants are sincere and pure in heart. I teach children to read." Of course, there are also poetic love stories in the film. Jang Seung-up met mutual love with Kisen Me-hyun. But Seung-up is poor. He is not able to support expensive kisen. Besides, the girl confesses to the artist that she is a Catholic. And in Korea, at that time, Christians, especially Catholics, were persecuted by royalty. The noble Kisen Me-hyun does not want to put her loved one and talented artist in mortal danger. After many years, Me-hyun invited the restless, impoverished genius to stay with her and take up painting. But the proud Jang Seung-up lives without saying goodbye to his beloved. He lives never to return. According to legend, Jang Seung-up went to the Diamond Mountains to become a hermit, as his first teacher, who taught the painter not only to draw and play the flute, but also to indulge in reflection. It seems that Kwon-taek identifies with the main character. In no other work did he so passionately relate his work to the cultural heritage of Korea. Only thanks to such bright flashes of the national spirit as the works of the brilliant artist Jang Seung-up, the history and culture of Korea has 5,000 years. And the honored popularizer of Korean culture, Kwon-taek, carefully recreates on the screen the historical, artistic, and national treasures of the spirit of the Korean people. The film was awarded the Best Director Award at the 55th Cannes Film Festival in May 2002. It was the first prestigious film award in the history of South Korean cinema in the global film community, recognition of the high professionalism of director Kwon-taek and the high artistic value of his film Strokes of Fire. In the Republic of Korea, after returning from France, director Kwon-taek received the title of the honorary professor at the Catholic University and a special medal from the Ministry of Tourism and Culture. In 2002, Strokes of Fire was awarded the Azure Dragon for Best Film, Best Director and Best Cinematographer. In 2003, Strokes of Fire was awarded in France with the César Awards as Best Foreign Film. This prestigious award from European filmmakers was also the first in the history of South Korean cinema. Kwon-taek has managed to create such feature films in which the real story is always present, sometimes as the leitmotif of the film plot, sometimes as the dramatic background of the action. A living classic of South Korean cinema, Kwon-taek considers himself as a documentary filmmaker. He is convinced that those historical and cultural events, the psycho-emotional upheavals experienced by the Koreans and everything that is doomed to extinction, he must preserve as a sign of era so that the next generations know how their ancestors lived. This time we talked about the living legend of Korean cinema, Kwon-taek. I'll see you on the next time.